Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Game with yours truly, Juicy J. You know the vibe. So, guys, if you are an already existing subscriber to the channel and to the podcast, please make sure that you do the do's. You know what I mean? You subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share. If you are new here, welcome, right? And please stay, don't go anywhere. Kumnandi up, it's really fun here. So, yeah, before you grab your popcorn and sit down, please make sure you do the right thing. Hey, another one. And it's been back to back, and I am blessed to have, really extraordinary women just come to my podcast. Abe bahle man, they are so beautiful. They make me so nervous. And so today I have another extraordinary lady. You're gonna get this one. If you guys think I was melting before, today, dear, I am melting, right? Extraordinary lady, a wonderful human being as well. We've shared so many platforms together, right? And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Her name is Sibabalwe Sesmani. How are you, my angel? You good?
I am good, thank you. What an intro. Yeah, I'm blushing. Thank God I have makeup
on. Listen, because you really stress me out with the makeup. See, am I gonna get my makeup done? And how do I need to look? And I'm like, you know what? Relax, come as you are. But how are you doing? You good?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm blessed and bright and right.
Hey, you bright and clear, son. Listen, I'm so happy to have you here. I think we've been planning this sit down for quite some time now. I mean, you are a busy lady, you know what I mean? You're all over the place and you're really doing so much great work in, behind the scenes. And we love that for you, So I think let's just really start with who Siba is, all right? Because my audience needs to know you. My audience needs to know where this beauty comes from, this confidence. Who is this lady? Because I'm sure they're looking like, yo, I will see her. Who's this one? Where did you find her?
Yeah, where do I even start? Well, I was born in Cecilia Makiwane in Tanzania.
Yeah.
That's where I was born.
Yeah.
That's where my parents currently live. The youngest of 3 siblings. My dad was a teacher. My mom was an admin clerk. They're still alive. The was is because they retired, not because they've left us. And yeah, that's basically where I was born. Went to school in East London, Hudson Park. Went to UJ. Right?
You went to Hudson Park?
I went to Hudson Park. Yep.
It explains why. It explains a lot. Carry on. I'll get back to that one. Carry on.
Yeah, went to UJ.
Yeah.
Did something very different. Actually, I did an undergrad in economics and econometrics.
Sure. Bachelor
of Commerce. Worked for a total of 18 months for someone else in my life in 3 or 4 different companies, and I've been self-employed since I was 22 years old. I know I look 24, but that's about like close to 11 years.
Come on.
Self-employed for, close to 11 years this year, actually, in October.
Wow, man, that is really what. So you went to Hudson Park. I need to go back to the fact that you went to Hudson. Do you know, like, we've had a thing, because I went to Queens.
Okay, yeah.
We've always had a thing about, when we go to Hudson Park, it's just like, yo, in the station, but how does it work? Does it only take beautiful people only?
Wait.
Well, I'm sure you probably had that in high school as well, now back in the day, back in your time. I'm going to take the calculator out.
Please don't, hey, I'm the 2K.
So, listen, tell me, in this world of sports, like, let's pretend as if you played sport.
I did. I still do. I play netball. I play netball every Friday.
Okay, did you play that in high school as well?
In high school, I played every sport except for the water sport because my hair. But yeah, girls cricket. I played hockey. I did cross country.
Yeah.
I played netball. I played tennis. Yeah.
So you've always been like really connected in the sports side of things?
Loved it, loved it. I wasn't in the first team or, provincial colors or anything like that, but I've always liked staying active. So even actually when I came to UJ from East London, I came with my hockey stuff, my tennis stuff. It's just that it didn't work out because now I'm not home, so I'm partying more. So that took a back seat. But yeah, I mean, even the place that I lived in Auckland Park, I was always close proximity to the gym. Love being outside, still go to the gym, hence I still do netball on Fridays. If people are keen for paddle, I'm there. Hiking, I'm there. I just love moving my body.
Like, talent and movement.
I love movement.
I mean, it's also Hudson Park, so definitely. I mean, you do a lot of like work behind the scenes though, with, your CEO of Unorthodox Group. You said I mustn't say groups.
One group.
It's not groups. It's group. So what kind of like work do you do there?
Sure. So Unorthodox Group came about as Unorthodox PR and Media Group actually in 2014 October. When we started the company. And initially, Unorthodox PR and Media Group was a public relations company. So very high-level summary is that we facilitate media interviews for our clients. So organizations that want to maintain their reputation, launch products or services, crisis management, not my favorite thing, but anything like really media. So we use platforms such as radio, TV, podcasting, digital, print, whatever you can think of. And we've done work in Southern Africa, West Africa, the UK, and the US. So about 5 years ago, at the beginning of COVID, well, close to 5 years ago, at the beginning of COVID, we then got into sport, and then we formed Unorthodox Sport. So to bundle everything together, we then rebranded as Unorthodox Group. That's the holding company. And then under it, it has 2 subsidiaries, which is Unorthodox PR, still doing the public relations work, and then Unorthodox Sport, which is, the sports work that we branched into.
Oh man, that's really wonderful, because I'm just like, with athletes, they actually really need that, beyond support from, obviously just, playing on the field week in and week out.
Correct.
And then we know, as you say, like PR stuff, because some of these athletes, they get up to really crazy, really crazy stuff. So, what really made you branch into that side of the world?
I want to say it was purely coincidental, but then also God is an intentional God. To us, it seems coincidental, but everything is well crafted by God. 5 years ago, it was actually around this time, funny enough, March, when we thought we were going to be in lockdown for 2 weeks. What a joke. Someone that I went to school with actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and they said, hey, I've got this friend. He's a professional rugby player. He wants someone to manage him. So at that time in our PR company, we didn't do work with individuals. It was only companies. You had to be a corporate. So I was like, okay, let's get on a call, let's find out. And then they told me he's a professional athlete who plays for our national team, just won the World Cup. Everyone was going crazy, because he was instrumental in us winning the World Cup. And I was just shocked, because what do you mean this person doesn't have representation? When just the year before, they had won a World Cup, and it's now 2020. So got on a call with this individual. Obviously, we couldn't travel. I'm in Johannesburg. He's in Durban. And he's like, no, I want someone to manage me. I get DMs, I get brands, but I'm not quite sure how to navigate it. Back to what you were saying, athletes know how to be athletes. And then all the other things, there's a bit of a question mark. So I was transparent in saying, listen, I've never managed an individual at all. But I do have PR background, and I know that reputation is everything.
It's everything,
So like a company, you would package it and make sure it has the right PR so that it has its consumers. I could think of you as a company or as an entity, and then your consumers are the brands and also the public. So I was like, listen, I can't, I've never done this before. If you're willing to take the chance and you're a big brand, we can do it. He said, sure, perfect, let's do it. And then, not luckily, but at the time, no games were being played because of COVID. We had the time to figure out the brand strategy, also get to know each other better, because a manager and an athlete, that sort of relationship, you need to build certain foundations. And then, I think from then onwards, we did amazing work with him. Then other people came and 5 years later, we have 4 national rugby team players and our roster. We've done work for a few franchises. We've indirectly participated in 2 World Cups. And we were there lifting the Ellis trophy. I touched the real one.
Really?
With Ellis, yes.
Were you there?
There is a picture. I was on the field after the final. I was there in France.
And how did that feel? Were you there for like a long period of time, or just for the finals, semi-finals? Were you there like for the whole thing?
So I was there basically for a month.
Okay.
So for 4 days, I took myself on a holiday because every October I try to celebrate the birthday of an Orthodox.
Okay.
So I took myself on a little holiday there for 4 days. But I had planned that I was going to go to the World Cup anyway because 3 of my clients at the time were playing during the World Cup. So I was there, I think, just before quarters, semis, and then we made it to the final, and I had to change my flight bookings because I think I was supposed to leave after the semis. I was like, oh, we made the final again.
There is no way that you are leaving before the final because you've been on this journey for quite a long time.
There was absolutely no way I was going to leave before the final. Change my flights. I was just like, I've been converting to rands, euros, but you know what? Just close your eyes. You'll see it
close your eyes.
when you get back to South. We'll deal with it. I've got friends.
And how was that? How was the whole experience?
Sia. Do they know you as Juicy J or Sia?
Listen,
I feel like this is a Sia moment.
Both, yeah.
There was a time, I remember I was Ubering from my friend's hotel.
Yeah.
There was also a South African girl who was there, and she was there on behalf of her organization. So we had met up, funny enough, also from East London. Hey, East London people.
East London people
we met up
Yeah.
So I was coming from her hotel, and I was in the Uber, and I started crying. Because, I was just like, how does a little girl from Mtanzane end up in Paris, but also around like such a monumental event, which is the Rugby World Cup. And we were celebrating 10 years of Unorthodox in the same month. So I was just so overwhelmed. And, one of the things, I can't get emotional because my makeup.
Yeah.
One of the things that was also so special is the fact that my dad is such a huge rugby fan. So for me, physically being there in that moment when he's part of the people that got me into rugby, because I used to watch rugby with him, which was my most favorite childhood memory with him. And now not only am I there, but I'm there with the actual athletes in the national team. Yeah. I wish I could take that emotion and like bottle it up and sell it.
And you are actually like in the forefront of it. Because not so many people can say, they traveled with the Springboks and they are actually, sitting down with them, seeing how they transition from the training field to just like chilling and relaxing at the hotel and going to games. And in that moment when we won the World Cup, the celebratory. Like you really had literally a wonderful experience.
It was. It's not an experience I take lightly. I literally had front row tickets to everything. And that's why I always say that I've got such a deep respect for our national players. They're the most humble people that you can ever meet. And I mean, these are people that are amazing, that are great, that currently through their efforts unite the country, even if it's just for a little bit. We've got our issues just like any other country, but see them being fathers, because I think South Africa was the only team during the World Cup that actually was allowed to have their families. So not only families, but your friends could live there, your kids could live there, your wife, Our biggest rivalry that we were playing against in the final, they were not allowed to have their families there. So it says so much as well about the leadership. Oh, I'm not applying for a job there, but it says so much about the leadership and the values, the core values of the team as a whole, and what that actually adds to the team. Because winning 4 World Cups and 2 back-to-back with the same sort of leadership with the back-to-back ones goes to show that, winning is not just on the field, but what kind of environment
that you create.
Thank you.
Man, that is really wonderful. Because, I also went to Paris around that time. But it was just, for me, not a month compared to you. It was for a week. And it was that Springbok versus the Ireland game. Oh, man, like the Irish gave us problems. Because I remember sitting at the stadium, and yeah, we filled up, compared to the fact that consider the fact that we traveled from, South Africa coming to Paris, and obviously Ireland to Paris is just a short distance, like 45
Closer.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's like flying from here to Durban.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere was so electric. It was so fun. So like that experience on its own is just really amazing. So now, Siba, with what you do, in the background, because I'm really just so proud of, the work that, women are doing behind the scenes in sport, and just the growth of women in sport and women's sports as well, right? Like for you, did you ever feel any pressures with, doing what you're doing?
Yeah, when don't I feel the pressures? When they say that tough times always come, but you just get tougher. That's literally it. I think just entrepreneurship as a whole, especially as a young Black woman, is just a lot.
Yeah.
But then you get into PR. PR is a bit more the gender representation is a bit better in PR. And now you get into sport, but not only do you get into sport, but you get into rugby. So of which, it is very much a white male-dominated sport. We need to call things out as they are. It is that.
Yeah.
So first of all, you stick out like a sore thumb as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Because, you don't see other people that look like you, that do what you do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I'd say, push. Because now you knew, and the people that used to do or still do what you do all know each other. Now you're the newbie in the space, but not only are you the newbie, but you look totally different from them. Right? But then you're also representing these world-class athletes, so they can't ignore you at the same time.
Yeah.
And then these world-class athletes make it a point to make sure that people know that you are the decision maker when it comes to certain things. So that level of respect and trust really went a long way to solidify where we now are 5 years later.
Sure.
So it was tough. It still is tough. But I really am, I think, trying to do the best that I can to make sure that women know about the ecosystem of sport off the field and the many opportunities that are still there that can be tapped into by women.
Like which ones?
It's what I do, right?
Okay.
So I manage professional athletes from a brand endorsement perspective.
Sure.
So what it means is that, say you are a national player, Sia.
Okay. Hey, listen.
Say I think you got time, you can. If you're a national player and you say, Siba, I need management. So one of the things that we would do is we would link you up with the most suitable brand endorsement deals.
Okay.
So an apparel partner, I don't know. What can I say? Certain organizations say, okay, maybe a Puma or a Nike or an Adidas.
Sure.
We would then, go to them, knock on their doors and be like, we've got Usia here as the perfect athlete. These are his stats online. He's represented us. He's always playing every Saturday, so that's airtime. He's going to be wearing your boots. So we structure those contracts. If you want a car, we go to an Audi, a Motor, Mercedes. We structure those deals. Basically, anything that's got to do with your commitments off the field.
Okay.
That's what we would then handle. So that's part of the ecosystem.
Sure.
And since then, I'm happy to also say that we were quite instrumental in opening up starting that industry of focusing on brand endorsement deals and managing of professional clients. Because before, it was something that the agents do as a by the way.
Sure.
But we are not agents, we are managers. So we're very proactive in saying that we look after the brand and not contracts on the field.
Sure.
So that in itself, for me, is a space that women can get into. From that, now you see quite a lot where sports marketing, you see a lot of vacancies on LinkedIn for sports marketing. Social media managers that know about sport. That's also an ecosystem that you can get into. You see a lot more physios focusing on specific sport. So that ecosystem as a whole has just opened up so much. And women can get in because we always think about sport on the field, but we don't think about the business of sport, and that's where the money is.
I can't see that. That's where the money is, man. That's where you reside. it's really interesting because also like with that ecosystem as well, and those opportunities, I always find it that we are not sort of like knowledgeable about it. Do you know what I
Correct.
mean? I've I've most of the times especially when I was still in university, people would ask me, I must say I want to get into like sports management. I want to do this behind the scenes, but then you never really have the answers because of lack of information. Do you
Correct.
understand?
Correct.
So I think what can we do more to just get that information out there? Because I think there's a lack of information on the opportunities and money opportunities like and outside being the player. Because I know we want to be in the front lines, the superstars and all the type of stuff, but there's also so much in the business side of sport that we can actually really get to. So like how do we actually really get that information? Because it's not really out there, Siba, and unless you meet someone like you that will probably be like informative enough. But then it's like, how do we really get that information out there?
Sure. Actually, an event that I hosted, was it last year when you came?
Yeah,
Thank you for the support. Was the Women in Sports Summit in partnership with Discovery, where our summit was actually about letting women know about the different opportunities within sport and the ecosystem of sport. So we had 5 different panel discussions going from professional athletes. We had Tatiana Smith join us. We had Robin from the SA hockey team join us. So they spoke from an athlete's perspective. We had a panel discussion on the commercialization of sport, which is, of course, what we do. But we also had your sponsors from Discovery in that panel discussion. And we had your sponsors from Puma saying what they look for, in order to get those sponsorship opportunities. So even within an organization like a Discovery, we're actually now seeing more and more vacancies such as head of sport, sponsorship. So within organizations in themselves, the departments are opening up to have a focus on sport. I think our other panel was on women in executive leadership positions. We had an amazing woman where it was a fireside chat. Mimi Tau. She sits on the board of SA Rugby. I mean, I didn't even know there was a black woman that sits on the board of SA Rugby. But actually, they are women. Black women, plural.
Sitting in these...
Yes, on the board of SA Rugby. So from an executive point of view, there are those opportunities as well. Because she does have her 9 to 5, but then she also sits on the executive board, she's a short lady, my height. We had that panel discussion. And then also we've seen it, especially with the likes of some platforms where a lot of rugby is aired, where... there have been a lot more women presenters, especially within the rugby space. And then also within that rugby space, if we look at social media, there have been sport influencers also coming up. So the opportunities are vast and wide, and it's opening up more and more because sport is actually the fastest growing industry.
It is.
And it's still about to grow, and everything else is a bit stagnant. So getting in or finding out rather what you're good at, what you're interested in, and then just seeing how you can get into it. But from a personal perspective, I think what our company did with the summit last year was quite great. We're definitely coming back, but we want to partner up with corporate so that we can invite people. It was free. We invite people to come and listen in. It was completely free for everyone. So people can come in and see and hear, from the likes of Discovery, from the people right at the top, to just know how you navigate within the space and get the opportunities.
Are you still doing more of those events?
Planned in the future. It takes a lot because I still run a company, But I think more and more now we are at a phase where we want to partner up with organizations because we see, your momentums. They have Women in Sports Summits. So how do we partner up instead of doubling up efforts? Because once we partner up, they tap into our networks that they don't necessarily have. We tap into theirs. So you see a lot of these like summits coming up, but how do we actually come together to create, a big summit or a whole lot more of these? Also in collaboration, it doesn't feel like a whole lot of work for one organization if we can share that responsibility. So I think, on our socials, we always have updates about it. But yeah, I think more and more we are realizing that the education part, as you pointed out.
Part, bro, like, listen, because I mean, I think that's the most difficult thing, because I think once, you remember in AKA one of his songs, I think it's Energy, when he said knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're not an AKA fan, are you? So knowledge is power. Listen, I love that guy so much. So just circling back a little bit, I think from getting like information from, I think you're exposed to rugby more than any other sports code.
Correct. Correct.
Even I think the people that you guys represent are mostly rugby players.
Correct.
Are you looking at like going to other sports codes as well, like your netball, your hockeys, and all the type of stuff?
So we indirectly got into netball through the Netball World Cup that was in Cape Town in 2023.
Did you go?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've been around me. You've been following me everywhere I go.
I wouldn't say follow, but we've been in the same circles because you're also in sport. But yeah, we had a client of ours who was interested in sponsoring, becoming a sponsor in the Netball World Cup. So we facilitated that sponsorship. They got their airplay, it was really amazing. They were the drinking partner for 14 days or 16 days, the pouring partner, rather, that would be the right term to use. So, that was sort of our involvement in netball. Soccer, we have relationship with soccer players. But what I'm also learning is that with every sporting code, the strategy needs to change.
Okay.
So in rugby, it's easier to deal with athletes also because of their contracts and their limitations. But it's also easier to deal with teams because we have worked with a franchise before.
Okay.
Soccer, it's a bit different. The contracts as individual players and their image rights and all of that are a bit more complicated. So maybe it's best when going into soccer to rather look at it from a team perspective.
Okay.
So it's really about just, I think, knowing the sporting code and just trying to figure out where you can add value and how. But definitely other sporting codes we have an interest in. Recently, I've been researching about Formula One. I find it so fascinating. I find it really fascinating.
Who told you about Formula One? Me. I told you. I did.
Okay, guess I'm tanda.
Are you finding it interesting?
I am. I think.
Do you have a favorite at the moment? Don't tell me Lewis Hamilton, please. It's no.
Okay, Verstappen.
Okay.
There's a guy called George as well. No, but he was on Lewis's team.
Yeah,
no. He stayed behind at Mercedes.
You see. Surprise.
But I think because I love my country so much, I know I say a lot about it. One of the things that started getting me into Formula One is that when Lewis Hamilton was still at Mercedes, and then I found out that his engineer, a guy named Sean Mafuna, South African, I lost it to a point where I found him on Instagram. I DM'd him. He gave me his email. We spoke on email, and I was just like, because I'm that kind of person, once I see a South African doing amazing, I'll reach out. Even if it's fine if you think I'm a groupie, but I'm just that kind of person. I was just like, oh my gosh, I think it's so amazing to have a South African. You work with Lewis Hamilton. Formula One at that level. So it also makes you realize how easily you can actually reach out to people and how responsive they will be. So that was Formula One.
And also just by the nature of most, South Africans in this big platforms, they're very nice people. Like you really think because they up there, they're just like, oh, flip, how do I, communicate with this person? How do I reach out to them?
Man. South Africans are really warm. I think that's why now we see an influx of tourists. And we've got a beautiful country, but I think the people are even more beautiful. So they make the tourists feel so welcome. We're such a warm nation.
No, man, that's really amazing, because I didn't know that there was someone in South Africa that was
Sean Mafuna. Google him, South African guy. He was Lewis Hamilton's engineer when he was still with Mercedes.
I didn't know that. And the fact that you telling me about it, I feel so embarrassed because
you see, You see, don't judge a book by its cover. I know more than you.
Yeah, because you're a very naughty person. Anyway. So, back in your Mdantsane side,
Mdantsane.
listen, we Englishizing it. It's Mdantsane. So would you say that, the way that you sort of like, grew up, has some sort of like, how was that? Like, because I'm really trying to get to, how you came to be this really well-rounded, all-rounded built woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes it seems a bit, roughy-ish.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I've had such an amazing childhood. I won't lie. Maybe to other people it might look different, but what I've gotten from it and the experiences that I've had from childhood have built me into the kind of person that I am now. And I think I'm not doing too bad. From a character perspective, I think I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
But, I remember my primary school, I went to actually a creche, Israelita.
Do I know
Israelita is King William's town, sort of.
Okay.
For the people that don't know their geographical location, but they claim to be from the Eastern Cape. Anyway.
Who are those people?
I went to creche Israelita primarily because I'm a daddy's girl. So my dad used to teach at a high school, Israelita. So I always had to be close to my dad. So straight after work, he comes and he picks me up. I had to be my dad's shadow growing up. I still am a bit now as well. So I went there, and then I went to school, Bishop Primary School, again, close proximity to my dad. I didn't like the school because I was bullied for performing well academically.
Really? Do they bully people for performing well academically?
So it was one of those schools where...
Because I would think you were probably bullied for being a gorgeous girl.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
They didn't bully for that?
No.
They just bullied you for getting straight A's.
No, literally, I was bullied for that. And, it was one of those... it's so sad that in South Africa, we still have those schools currently. But it was one of those schools where there were like 50 kids in a classroom. So you can only imagine 50 to 1 ratio, 5-0, not 1-5. And I didn't like it. So I sat my parents down, I think the beginning of the year before I was about to go into grade 5.
Sure.
And I said, I don't like the school. Can I change schools? I sat them down. I called them into the lounge. I was like, let's have a family meeting. So
in grade 4, when you were calling family meetings at home?
Yes. I called a family meeting. I was just like, listen, I don't like the school.
Why were you so bossy?
I have no idea. So when people are like, I'm like, hi guys. I was born.
You were just that person.
Literally born this way. So said my parents, and my dad is like, oh, okay. Being a daddy's girl, daddy's girls are daddy's girls because their dads can't say no.
Okay.
And let me point that out.
Yeah.
So my dad is like, oh, okay, my mom. My dad is like, no, she wants to change schools. I like this. And then we went to, so everyone had started, I applied to schools, it was late. It was very late, only applying to a school in January. You applied to a school the year before.
Yeah.
And then there was one school that got back to me, but I had to repeat a grade. But luckily, I'd started school when I was 6, not when I was 7. So I was the same age as everyone. And then they were like, no, but we need to call you in for an interview. This is now Hudson Park. And I walked in. I was with my parents. I was just like to them, you guys wait in the reception area. I've got this. I walk in with the headmaster, close the door behind me, and he's like, you want to come to the school? I was like, I like it. It looks pretty. And what I'll definitely do is that I'll play every single sport, participate in every extramural activity, and I will do well. I will be an A student. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, cool. You can come next week.
Just like that?
So I walked out and I said to my parents, we need to buy school uniform. My parents are like, how did it go? And you asking me too many questions. We need to go and buy school uniform. So I've always been very assertive in that way. And going from a school where there's 50 kids in a classroom, 5-0, to 1-5. I thought the whole class was missing on my first day of school. I was just like, where's everyone else? I was like, where's everyone else? I'm not used to this.
Because I think with those schools and with those numbers, teachers get to do one-on-one stuff.
Which was weird for me. I think in the first week, there was a girl called Jessica sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And Jessica didn't get such a simple mathematical principle. So I'm trying to explain. Now the whole class is pausing and they're paying attention to her.
Okay.
And then you actually realize, like you understand why some kids grow up with so much confidence.
Yes.
They raise their hands when they're unsure, uncertain. They're not afraid to make mistakes because they come from those environments.
Sure.
That's how I'll forever be grateful that my parents said, when I said I don't want to go to the school, they said, okay, cool, let's change schools. Because a lot of my character development was done then. From with Jessica, holding up the entire classroom, we will stop until Jessica gets it. Jessica gets it, then we move on.
Yeah.
So from there, like, my curiosity was a bit more. I started asking more questions. I was trying a lot more. I wasn't scared to be wrong. I wasn't scared to try. And within the first 2 months, I was in the top 5 in my grade. So I told the headmaster, I was like, I told you I was going to do this thing. Listen, I've got this, So it was those things. So that's why I say my upbringing played so much into the kind of person that I am, but also my parents, because they allowed me to be. I think they could also see that we can't control this one. So how do we support her? So things like that, being able to call people into meetings are things that I still do. Telling people things, knowing that I have to give something in order to get something. The negotiation I did with my headmaster, which are negotiation skills that I use now in negotiating in my contracts for my athletes. So, quite a bit. Watching a lot of sport with my dad, enjoying that sport with my dad. Those things that happened in my childhood and growing up have really added so much value into the kind of person that I am now and in the work that I am doing now.
No, bro, like I get it. Like, you see, now it all makes sense, because I'm just like, where do you really get this assertiveness and this confidence from? Because and I know, like, you like things to be this way. If not this way, they need to be, very organized.
Correct.
Especially with that event I went to that you had. I was like, see, please sit right here on this seat. I'm like, Aibo. So if I go to another seat, will things change? But then, I mean, we always face, like, adversity when we, strive for great things in our lives. Like, for you, like, what has been, like, the moment that probably almost so, like, broke you, or made you so, like, let me just give up on this, but, something had happened. Someone, came, got sent to be like, oh no, Siba, don't give up. You know what I mean? Have you ever had those moments?
Yeah, I think as an entrepreneur, you have those moments like 100 times in a day, every day, when you just want to give up. Because you're like, because that's the thing, the life of an entrepreneur is not balanced. When it's really good, it's good. When it's really bad, it's bad. And then when it's normal, you're panicking because you're not used to just like a normal day. So I think for me, it was last year actually where I had that moment where I was just on my knees and I was just like, God, how can you bring me so far for you to destroy everything that I've worked on? And for me, it was my growth year. We pray to God about things that we want. And then when they come, they definitely will come, but God prepares you. So interestingly enough, it was year 10 of Unorthodox last year, and so much was happening, someone else would see it as bad, but it was growth. You start seeing people for who they are, and their true colors start showing. You see clients moving away from you. Just a lot of things were taken away in order for God to rebuild my foundations. And luckily, I pray quite a lot. I'm very aligned with God, so I knew what He was doing, but it's hard. So often, like, we think we pray for growth, but you actually need to prepare yourself. So for me, it was also very special in the sense that I felt that I was going through a lot of growth last year. In my 10th year of being in business, but it was hard because there's so many things that you had to let go of. There are people that you have to let go of, because for every level, I feel as though, God is elevating me to another level now from this year onwards. So you need different people, you need different experiences, you need different perspectives. And for you to get all of that, the old has to go away. So we tend to cling to things that are also so familiar, because you're fearing the unknown. So I think last year, it really was that year where a lot was taken away from me that was very familiar. And I was just bare, and I'm like, God, what to do? As you said, like, I'm a very clinical person, organized person. Now I'm just sitting there like, God, what's going on? You know, nothing here feels familiar. And that's exactly where God wanted me to be, because I prayed to him that, you know, this is what I want. I want to build a legacy. I want to change people's lives. I want to do this. Year 1 to year 10 served its purpose with its people, but now those people can't be there anymore. Those situations, those clients, you know, we're rebuilding your foundations. And then,
so you lost clients?
Lost clients, you know, lost people over the years that we had worked with and been there, you know, they were there. But also how you lose people and how you lose clients is important, was very amicable. But, you know, at that point in time, you tend to think, if you don't know what's going on in your life, you're not aligned to God, you'll think that you're doing something wrong or you're failing. But also walking with God means that it gets hard. But at least as long as you know what God is doing in your life. Yeah. So I was literally, I think for the first time on my knees last year, and I was crying, and I was just like, God, this is hard, but I know what you're doing. I'm in the pruning process. Yeah. You know, when you prune a plant, you cut, it's fine. I'm going to grow my leaves and my branches. And this year, I think I laid the foundations of now planning for the next 10 years. What does that look like? How do we elevate? How do I take my learnings from the previous 10 years and apply them in these 10 years? What's next? What, you know? Yeah, so it was God who came through, I guess. And I was just like, I'm not giving up. I'm still here.
And in all of these things, I'm gathering a sense of it's just been, you know, business that you feel like you've been having a difficult time in. My dear,
where is this going?
Your life is not just business.
Where is this going?
Yeah. You know, you got that distraction. There is that other distraction. You know that distraction. You know, it comes in the form of my gender. You've never had those distractions in this difficult time. And you growing this, you know, this business for 10 years. You're trying to tell me that when you've been, you know, solely focused on this business and this entrepreneurial thing, that Kubane, there was no, hey, you know what? See, this guy, I loaned him 20,000.
Oh no, because I don't do those things. I'm a person, girl.
How's that part of your life actually looking?
You're dry. I made actually an intentional decision, I think, after 25 to not get into a relationship with anyone. Primarily because I think you can ruin good, again, back to entrepreneurship, you can ruin good relationships, friendships and romantic relationships by being an entrepreneur. Because sometimes you get so frustrated with yourself, you take it out on other people. So I made, from 25 up until I think 29, 4 years, I made a conscious decision that I'm not going to have a romantic life. And I'm just going to focus on business till I can get to a point where I think I'm happy with myself and someone else can come into that, because I didn't want to bring someone into my confusion. I wanted to lay my foundations, you know, be happy, know that even if I go through tough times, I know why these tough times are happening. So it's not like I'm fidgety, because we need to be careful also with how we treat other people. You know, I didn't want in that time a guy comes along and you're an entrepreneur, you have money, you don't have money. Say when I don't have money and then now, you know, I want it from him and he wants to help, but he doesn't have the money. Now I'm cursing him out, you know, whereas and actually I have to deal with my own demons. So I think that's part of the reasons why I just decided, you know, I'd put your head down and focus. Put your head down, let me grow in maturity. Let me know how to handle my emotions. Let me know how to deal with the different business cycles so that you know, I had to make sure that I'm very mature because the person, if I meet whoever, must meet me at a level where I'm happy with myself, not them filling a void.
Come on. Say that again.
They had to meet me at a place where I'm happy with myself, not that they are filling a void within me. I'm invoicing for this podcast because this is a therapy session.
Listen, my goodness. So, wow. So how long have you been single? 10 years.
Let's say I would probably have a master's by now. If there was a qualification in singleness, I would have a master's. Maybe I'd be Dr. Sesmani and I'd have a doctorate. Hey, man.
So a master's doctorate takes about 7 years.
Okay, maybe just shorter than 7 years.
6.
Maybe let's say
5.
Yeah. Do we count situations that are less than 6 months?
When I don't less than you don't count
Okay.
less than 6 months.
Then let's say.
How do you get a relationship for less than 6 months? So do you call it a relationship?
I'm sure you're gonna post it. Is this going on YouTube? In the comments, put your hand up if you've ever been in a relationship for less than 6 months. See from the comments. Yes.
Is it like what? 2 months, 3 months?
Hey, when I get to 3 months, I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, and then something happens. Yeah, when I'm 3 months, 3 months is cursed, then something happens. But you'll see from your comments that you'll get from this that 2 months, 6 months.
How do you say, or how do you translate Mama Toho in English?
Peace job. Peace job. Peace job. Yeah, peace job. It ended after 2 months. So it was a part-time thing. It was vac work.
Vac work.
So I'm not counting the vac work. So yeah, I'd say maybe it could actually be 8 years if I'm not counting the vac work.
Yeah. And then, like family-wise, as well as everything being good.
I really am grateful to God.
Yeah.
And now I think you should release this on a Sunday. May Simon. I'm grateful to God because I remember before I started my company, I called my parents again, another meeting. Oh, Shem, yes. Abazal Bam guys.
Always in meetings.
God bless them, Called them into a meeting, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And then I said to them, listen, I've got something to tell you. And then I think my dad thought I was going to tell him that, we are now 2. There's 2 of us now working. Yeah. And I was 22 at the time, So my dad's eyes were just like, my child, what is she going to tell me? I'm a girl child, so what he's anticipating. Am I ever going to be a grandfather again, But I was just like, listen, I quit my job. It's been a month now. I started my company and I've already had a client for 6 months.
How did they take that?
So my dad was like,
there's no child.
Not to say there's anything wrong if you have a child at 22, if you're happy with your little cutie, we're happy for you. But yeah, I think he was just relieved, like, okay, she's not going to have a child. But I told him, I was like, I'm getting into entrepreneurship. I have a client, actually, I got this client when I was still working, my 9 to 5. I've had them for 6 months. And at that point, I had already started working my 3rd year. And I had already tried to tell my parents to stop paying my rent, but it took time for them. So financially, I had already started pulling away from my parents before I graduated. So at this point, financially, I didn't really need much from them, but they were still there because, dads and their little girls are like, no, not my baby, not in Johannesburg, So that was really great. I told my parents that. And then I said to them, just give me 5 years, then I'll be able to contribute back home. But also, what I keep on saying is that my parents, with the salaries that I had, I mentioned earlier that the salaries they had, my dad was a teacher, my mom was an admin clerk at a school. It really wasn't a lot of money, but for the mere fact that I don't have the so-called black tax. I don't have to send money home every month. Yeah. It's only when I see something at home that I want to fix.
And like you're doing it from the bottom of your heart.
It's from the bottom of my heart. I don't have a monthly obligation.
Bro, I get you.
So when I say to them, just give me 5 years and I will do financially, but give me 5 years. And my parents never asked me for anything for 5 years. In actual fact, my dad was still buying me airtime. Oh yes, about that. But that guy randomly, would send me airtime, bless me here and there, send me money here and there, So I really am blessed that they gave me again that leeway to say I want to explore this entrepreneurship thing. They gave me 5 years. They didn't remind me after 5 years, but after 5 years, financially, miraculously, I could do things at home. Like, I don't like this, go change this. Oh, how's about we get a helper? I'll pay for the helper. Sure. Things like that. Again, I did not have to. Luckily for me, which is not a position that a lot of people are in. So yeah, it was interesting having that family and that support. My mom learned about what PR is. My dad learned about what PR is. some of the national players, well, one national player has come to my home to pick me up, to take me to the airport when we back home in Tanzania, you know, and my mom is just like, oh my gosh, you know. So things like that as well. My dad being a huge rugby fan, him seeing the kind of interaction I have, you know, when that national player picks me up at home to take me to the airport, is a look on his face that I can't put money to. And I'm like, it's because you guys created that environment. Now I'm showing you that you don't have to regret the decision that you made. So, yeah, man, God is good.
Wow, I think, you know, we always, you know, tend to struggle when sometimes you go back to your parents and be like, listen, I've quit this. I'm not going to study this. And getting them to try and, like, you know, understand what it is that you're trying to do. You know, just getting that support sometimes can be just very difficult for most people. So that's why I'm just like, you know, that's really nice and powerful that your parents sort of like gave you that leeway. Just like, you know what, we're trusting Siba to, you know, she knows what she's doing. Because I mean, also, I mean, you're always putting them on family meetings to tell them, go back, hey, this is how things must go. You know? And I think that comes with also just like fighting for what you want in the future that you want. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because I've always also found myself having at some point like telling my parents, or giving them a middle finger, but not necessarily like giving them a middle finger, but like telling them. I remember my mom was like, hey, listen, I don't want you to play this rugby thing. Look for different sports. And she was very adamant to be like, hey, you're not going to play. And so I'm like, bruh, if you don't want to support me, stay at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to literally do that to your own parents to be like, bruh, if you don't want to, just stay at home. Don't give me that support money on the weekend. Because sometimes I really didn't have it. I didn't really have that pocket money on the weekend, because I just probably knew that, oh, they're not in support of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's really great to have, you know, your parents having to, you know, back you up like that. Because also, I think the biggest support system that encourages us to do something, it actually comes from the people that we actually love. So when your parents and your mom and your dad actually give you that support, it's really great.
It is.
You know?
No, it's amazing. You know, I couldn't have asked for a better set of parents. I'm sure they could have asked for a more softer daughter. But I couldn't have asked for better parents to just give me that support, because, you know, especially entrepreneurship, it gets lonely. And sometimes no one else understands it, because I also don't come from an entrepreneur-driven sort of like family. So sometimes it's just you and God, and you just have to just pull through. You know, there were those moments, you know, as you mentioned, like, when you're baroque, which is part of life. And it's important. It's a character building thing, but it also allows you to see who's for you and who's not for you. Because that's in those moments where you have to reach out, ask for help. The moment, you know, people are very funny about the help, then you know those people are not supposed to.
When days are dark, friends are fused.
Exactly. Very few when days are dark, you know, so it's really important. You know, you go through those cycles, but that for me was really important, because growing up I said I wanted to be a doctor. So my mom reminds me all the time.
You wanted to be a doctor?
You said you wanted to be a doctor. I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm good.
Hey, we wanted to be a lot of things when we were growing up. We wanted to be like accountants.
Mamela.
At some point I wanted to be a police officer, but looking at how you're like,
and now look at what you do. Look at what you do.
Is it like then? You know, we always have, like, you know, a lot of people that have really pretty much inspired us, you know, growing up. So for you, who was that person? Was it a female? Was it a male? Yeah, my parents. Again. Yeah. So your people have always been like close. You didn't have like a public figure that you probably like looked up to.
Maybe the older I got, but like my parents, because again, as I mentioned, my dad was a teacher before he retired. But while he was still working as a teacher, he actually tried to branch off into entrepreneurship and getting into business with my uncle. He got badly burnt, but luckily he still had his 9 to 5. So he had always tried to say, what can I do to provide for my family? And my dad is a very, that's where I get it from. He's a curious person.
Yeah.
And once he gets an idea about something, he wants to implement. So, I mean, my dad's written a book. He's never printed it, but he wanted to do it for himself.
Sure.
My dad used to take us to art galleries, myself and my sister. He got interested in painting. He started painting. My mom, I always say, you know, if she grew up in a different era, oh, that woman would have been a billionaire. You know, the hustling, I definitely get it from my mom.
Sure.
You know? She also wants to do something. She's this big heart. She wants to help everyone. And now that she's retired, she's like the local social worker. And I'm the one who has to hear about what's going on in because it's here. You know, so my parents really are people that I looked up to. And, you know, I always say that I'm a generous person because of my parents. I'm a compassionate person because of my parents. I'm a self-starter, implementer because of both of my parents and the character traits that they have. So those are the people that I looked up to. And then also it was, for me, a lack of seeing black women. I didn't see black women when I was younger in positions of power. Yeah. So for me, I always wanted to just challenge that and say, I want to be that girl, you know,
in those
boardrooms, making decisions, but also making sure that I'm creating a space for other black girls to go into it. Because I also want to say to another girl that I wasn't a trust fund baby, but look at what I managed to achieve with obviously God guiding me throughout the whole way. So you don't have to wait till you have enough. It's about using what you have to get there. But also it hits different when a girl in Tanzania, say anyone or 15, wherever, can say, oh, this girl's also from there. The parents had very ordinary jobs, but look at what she was able to do, you know, through the little resources that she had. So I've also even grown up to be the kind of person that I look up to as well, you know, because we also have that thing.
And we struggle with that,
Yeah. So in as much as we have all of these people that we look up to, actually look up to yourself also as well and be like, yay, this time last year, where were you? This time 3 years ago, just go back so you can give yourself a pat on the back that's much needed.
Even in the moments when you feel like you're not winning, you know, it's just very important just to keep that like, hey, listen, I've done something today, and no matter how small it is, let me, you know, give gratitude and thank God for it and just, you know, soldier through. Because it's really tough, like, to give yourself a pat on the back because you never feel like you're doing enough.
Exactly. Because we also want, like, these big achievements all the time. No, but in order to get to the big achievements, we need the small little wins. Like, I was on TikTok the other day, and this guy said, the secret to stop drinking if you really want to is not to say, I'm quitting forever, or I'm quitting for 6 months. It's to say, today, when you wake up, today, I'm not going to drink. Tomorrow is the same thing. Today, I'm not going to drink. I didn't have a drink. Or if you want to have a six-pack, it's just about, today, I'm going to the gym. You know, this other lady that I bumped into at the gym, she says to me, so I'm a routine person. So if I say 5 a.m. in summer, I prefer going to gym at 5 a.m. It's getting colder now, so I prefer in the evening. Like Mama, 7. So I'm also that person that at 7 I need to go in. And if I don't go at 7, then my whole day's thrown off. Or if I don't go at 5, then I can't like recalibrate myself to still go. And this lady at the gym was like, you know what? Maybe it's not about the time sometimes, time of going to the gym, but it's about saying every day I'm going to gym for 40 minutes. Gym can be skipping at your house if you can't make it to the physical gym. Gym can be taking a walk, or gym can actually be going into the gym when you find the time. So those small wins, so that we're not always trying to reach these bigger things and we forget about the small wins. And congratulating yourself, you know. If you wanna stop drinking and you say, yo, today I didn't have a drink, proud of myself, that's a win. Next day, that's a win. It's a week now. It's a month you haven't had alcohol. It's 3 months. It's 6 months you haven't had. It's 2 years, you know, but it's about the small, gradual wins that you make along the way and patting your back and getting yourself into a habit of patting your back for the smallest of things. Washing your makeup off before you go to bed, that is an achievement because it's hard. Sometimes you just want to sleep. But, you know, I did my skincare routine. Those mundane tasks are actually the things that we should be more proud of.
No, I get you like this. Bro, like it's not really easy, but you know we need to really get ourselves into that mindset because you know it's really crazy, you know. So you're a big rugby fan, so I'm gonna play a bit of a game with you.
Yo, Gosiam. Okay. I'm scared.
Don't be. It's okay.
I'm very competitive. So I better win.
Oh well, I think this game would just definitely align to your juicy flows. So, okay. I think first of all, let's just start here, right? You can help rate your 5 best rugby players of all time. 5. I need your top 5. So from 5 until 1. And they don't need to be from South Africa. It's just any nationality, any team. So just giving me your 5 best rugby players that you love of all time.
So I think my top 5 is going to be based on-field technicality and the kind of people that they are.
On-field technicality.
On-field technicality is the kind of player they are, as in, passes, balls,
Passes.
Well, how they actually perform on the field. And it's also going to be based on people that I've met.
Ziapi balls. Passes, balls. What?
On the field,
passes, balls. You said passes. And then you said balls. So get now, people.
What do you use to play rugby? A ball.
Okay. Who you? Okay. All right, cool. Siba, focus. All right.
I'm here.
Okay. So, basically whatever. All right. Technicalities, passes, balls. Okay. All right, cool.
Exactly what I meant.
However, when you rate them for me.
I don't want to though. Can I just name a bunch of people in no specific order?
Don't chicken out of this game. Rate.
So all of my clients are number 1. Okay, so now we've got number 4 till number 2. So all of my clients that are number 1. So number 1, and no go talk from number 5. Now I make my own rules.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with number 1.
I mean, you bully your parents to a meeting, so now you're bullying me on my podcast.
I'm staying on brand.
Oh my goodness.
I'm staying on brand.
Okay.
So number 1 spot, okay, and I'm going to say names not in any particular order because they all deserve the number 1 spot.
Okay.
Because they are team unorthodox, so they won. Babalalacha.
Okay.
Lukanyo Am. Jaden Hendrickson.
Okay.
Makazolema Pimpi.
Okay.
All of my clients are number 1. Now we left with
Makazolema Pimpi.
Now
Makazolema Pimpi. Wow. Makazolema Pimpi.
My clients are all number 1. My favorites, my most favorite rugby players of all time are my clients. They are all number 1. Okay? Got that?
Siba number 2.
Number 2 is actually Dan Carter.
Ooh.
And I hosted him for dinner when he was in South Africa for the very first time. I think this was 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
That's 2022 or 2023. He came to South Africa for the first time. We hosted him for dinner, had a very intimate evening.
Yeah.
He had a Q&A. Lovely, fantastic guy.
Yeah.
I think also looking back on what I do, and what he did, I mean, he had a very interesting moment where I think he was casted for Calvin Klein advert. And then when brand endorsement deals were still a bit new in his era, and he said, now he's at, was it Calvin Klein or Jockey? I can't remember.
Yeah.
He says, he was now in this underwear on a huge ass billboard, and his teammates started making fun of him. But he was one of the first rugby players, I think, to do such a campaign. Yeah. So I laughed at him and I'm like, can you see where we are now? This was like 2022, 2023. And I was laughing with him to say, can you see where we are now? He's like, yeah, but during his time, that was embarrassing.
That wasn't,
So lovely guy, warm guy, humble, so relatable. Because on the field, he was definitely amazing when he was still competitive. And I think just as a person, the work that he does, he has a foundation as well. And just how receptive he is to people is definitely my number 2. My number 3. I'm going to name retired guys because, I don't want to, Number 3 definitely has to be John Smith.
Okay.
Again,
there was a very impressive guy.
Right?
Yeah.
again, like I love people. I think their personalities make them even better people.
Okay.
On and off the field. Again, John, such a warm guy, amazing memory. You know, he remembered me from like one encounter that we like met each other again in a different setting.
Yeah.
Such a great guy, but also how people speak about him as well in his absence. Like people are always have a smile on their face, and you can tell they've got a tingly feeling when they speak about him. So definitely John Smith. John, I know that you own a brand called Avante. I will give you my address. So thank you for that.
Wow, we give John addresses. Yeah,
so I give you a shout out. I want my consignment of my Avante brandy. Thank you. John, I think, is one of them. There is a guy from Zim, Tonderai Chivanga. Also retired, exceptional guy. Apparently he was faster than lightning.
Yeah, he was.
Really faster than lightning. Could give Cheslin a run for his money.
Yeah.
And then the last one. Yo, this one is
gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Can I say the whole national team?
No.
You're
not tricking me this time. You're not tricking me. No, you're not tricking me this time.
Yeah, but there's so many great retired and also still actively playing athletes that are so amazing.
Okay, this is number 5. Who has given you your best rugby moment ever?
I've already mentioned them. Number 1 spot, my clients.
They've given you the best rugby moment.
Collectively.
Nah, Suzamuba clever after Siba. Suzamuba clever.
The best.
Give me number 5. You're gonna give me the number 5, please.
Francois Pina, baby. Why are you rolling your eyes? I really liked Lay's, and he was on the Lay's advert.
You're just trying to dodge me. You're just trying to. There's so
many amazing guys.
Francois
Pina is amazing.
Like, I think also before he retired, he was beyond exceptional.
I don't like this game, you see. Because now there's your Victor Matfields, absolute rock star. There's your guys. There's so many. There's your friend Oxenchain.
Listen, since you killed me on this one, I'll make you play another quick one quickly. Another quick one. So I'll give you a top 3. My top 3.
Okay, let's hear it.
And then you are going to do your thing. All right? So, Siya Kolisi, Dan Carter, right?
Okay.
And I'll put in a youngster in there, some fresh blood, right? Sasha Feinberg Komizulu. So now, listen.
Okay.
Out of those 3, Siya Kolisi, Dan Carter, Sasha Feinberg Komizulu, right? Who would you marry, kiss, and kill? I'm Christian. I wouldn't kill anyone. Siba.
Marry, guys. Do I have to?
Yes, you have to.
And people are gonna watch this.
You're not leaving that chair without telling me.
Kill, guys, is a lot. Can we change kill to something else?
To what?
I don't know. Okay, marry, kiss, and
dump. Okay.
Dump. It's a bit better, Marry. Guys. I can't marry Dan Carter because he's already married. So I'd have to dump him. Yes, because, it goes against my Christian values. Infidelity. What's left now? Kiss and marry.
Yeah.
I can't kiss Sia because,
Who are you kissing then?
I can't.
Are you kissing Sasha?
But who am I marrying?
Who are you asking me?
Guys, but I think let's change this. I'll answer one. I'll dump Dan Carter because he's married.
And then who are you kissing?
And it's infidelity.
You don't have to kiss them in the mouth. You can kiss them in the forehead, in the cheeks. Who are you kissing, my dear?
Sasha.
Okay. And then you married Sia?
No. Cut. These questions, guys.
Okay, cool. I got it.
This is purely for entertainment purposes. These views are expiring the moment this episode is done. When the next episode comes up, this specific game is taken off the table. Okay. Disclaimer, I will not be held liable for my responses, okay, for this game part of it. Everything else, we're good. Disclaimer.
Don't panic, we're good. So, Siba, thank you so much for your time. I really had so much fun with you here. Thank you so much for taking time out to come and join me here on Beyond the Game. I hope you had a really good time.
Oh, I had an amazing time. Thank you for inviting me.
Even though you were so scared.
Thank you so much for inviting me. What an amazing platform. Can't wait, man, till we have, maybe let's have Dan Carter the next time. Hey, let's organize.
Don't worry. Beyond the Game is going beyond the game, and we are going to bring definitely want to have you back some point in the future as well. So thank you so much for coming, man.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Listen, before you leave, there's one last thing I need you to do for me, right? So, look at that camera for me, which is your camera, right? And I want you to please, share, words of inspiration, words of encouragement, your favorite quotes, right? To just everyone that's like tuning in right now that is probably, looking to be, an inspiring, Siba one day, inspiring entrepreneur, you know what I mean, that's currently going through a tough time when it comes to entrepreneurship and businesses. Do you know what I mean? And just, to the young women out there that are really just trying to, get into powerful positions of influence, just like you. So whenever you're ready, now you have time.
What is that word? What's that long ass quote about something about your light? It is not something we don't fear that we great or something. It is not our fear that we are what, but we are what. Our light what. Yes, man. Everyone knows. I think that if you care.
I think it says. Our fears on that we are
inadequate. Don't.
Just
line your balance. I can Google it.
Yeah, do your thing.
Our fear is not that we are inadequate. Our fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Okay. It is our light. In front of land, our light. Yeah. Oh, Yabana, Uncle Google.
We're good? Yes. Okay. So whenever you're ready, just shoot.
Okay. Oh, okay. We can retake this one if I feel like this part, Okay, cool. Hi everyone, my name is Sibabalwe Sesmani and I am the group CEO of Unorthodox Group. My words of encouragement are get up and do it. If you've got an idea, just implement. Put your emotions aside. How you feel is fleeting. You literally need to make a commitment and go for it. We think that being our best is optional, and actually being our best allows the light for others to shine. One of my favorite quotes is that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? And this also reminds me of Yanga's song, which is What If? Most amazing song, but basically in a summary form is that we need to be the best that we think we can strive to be. And our light actually shines our light to other people and inspires them to be the best that they can actually be.
Blown away. Siba, thank you so much, man. I said once again, it was really nice having you here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to even sitting down with you in the near future. And all the best with, all that you are doing. And please carry on doing what you're doing. You are, such a wonderful inspiration, and I wish you nothing but the best. And yeah, we'll definitely be in those circles. We're all in this together. All right.
Definitely.
So in any way that I can support you, I'll always be there. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. And thank you also for always supporting me. You know,
Yeah.
we do need male allies as women, especially as women in sport. So when I come to you and you put your hands up, it's always it's a wonderful moment for me. Yeah. Thank you.
And there you have it, guys. Another episode of Beyond the Game with yours truly, Juicy J, done and dusted. I hope you guys had a really wonderful time. Please make sure that you do subscribe, like, share, and comment. Engage with us in the comment section, right? Let's have a conversation, right? And guys, we are coming live from you from Tempo Luxury Restaurant. Tempo. Big shout out to Tempo Luxury Restaurant. And yeah, guys, please make sure to do the right thing. And yeah, have a wonderful one. Have a blessed one. Thank you so much. Bye.